to my district. You know, when I first ran for office over 28 years ago, I represented this district is now represented by Alderman Douglas. Down the street. So this will be where it all happens. And I've got to tell you that I'm excited because when I had my trouble here, and I think all of you remember it was a long time ago, there was this handsome young guy who came from Senate Democrats at that particular time. I was standing at the polls and I looked up and I said, "Oh heck, there's Chris Murphy and he's working for me." So now it's my turn to turn around and work on behalf of Chris Murphy. So I saw him when he came out of college and worked for Senate Democrats, when he became a member of the House of Representatives, when he came to the Senate, and he moved forward on health care in a way that really hadn't been done before. I'm excited about what he can do in the Senate of the United States of America. We talk about this just being a New Haven event, but it's not. It's an event for all of South Central Connecticut. I see my buddy over there. Senator Schlossberg is here. I think the finest delegation in the General Assembly. Of course, there are those who would disagree with me, but
that's all right.
There's Representative Holder Winfield over there. The person who keeps us all straight is none other than the Senate's Majority Leader. May I introduce Senator Martin Lewis.
Thank you so much, Tony. As we all know, that the whole state of Connecticut is blessed by the quality of the service that Tony Hart provides at the State Senate of Connecticut. As our co-chair of our Appropriations Committee, all of the good work in the budget that we've seen over the last several years, and all of the benefits for social service programs, education, health care, and municipal aid, all of that is integral to the work that Tony Hart has been doing. And as I said, her presence there has been a blessing to all of us, not just for New Haven, but for the whole state, and particularly the urban areas of that state. As Tony said, we have a strong delegation from this area. Also, the Majority Leader of the House, Brendan Sharkey, was here earlier. I don't know if he still is. I believe Brendan is going to be the next Speaker of the House starting in January. A strong progressive. Senator Hart mentioned Senator Gail Schlossberg, our great colleague from Milford, who is a leader on education reform and government organization reform and so many other good and essential organizational things in the state of Connecticut. And she is somebody who brings great wisdom, skill, and legal acumen to that job. We have Representative James Alvis from East Haven. Chair of a group of shoreline legislators concerned about the impact of the environment and storms along the Connecticut shoreline, which affects so many of our districts. So we're all gathered here today, as Senator Hart said, for Chris Murphy. This is a good luck headquarters. This was the headquarters for Dan Malloy in 2010. In New Haven in November in the general election, and we're looking to see that replicated again this year for the people here in New Haven. And as Tony said, why is it important to elect Chris Murphy to the U.S. Senate? And the reason is that Chris Murphy is a true progressive Democrat. He is exactly what we need in the U.S. Senate, to someone to be an advocate for the concerns that all working people face and care deeply about. He's done that his whole career. As Tony said, he was a staff member for the state Senate in 1998 when he took on an incumbent Republican state representative in Southington who was entrenched. Nobody thought he could be beaten, and Chris knocked on every door in that district and won that upset to win that House seat in 1998. 4 years later, he took on a tough state Senate race when it was an open seat. He was running against another incumbent House member. He had two well-respected, well-known House members running for an open state Senate seat, and he won that in 2002. And then 4 years later again, he took on the dean of the congressional delegation. He took on Nancy Johnson, who had been a congresswoman for 24 years. No one thought that she was vulnerable in that race. But Chris Murphy took on that race and won that race. Yeah. So 6 years now he has been a member of the U.S. House of Representatives, and as we heard, has finished his first job. He is a fearless legislator and a fearless campaigner. And that's exactly what we need in this tough year. And as Senator Harp said, one of the things that was a hallmark of Chris Murphy during his tenure in the legislature as chair of the Public Health Committee in the state Senate, one of the things that he did was take on some of the entrenched interests of powerful hospitals in the state who were in effect imposing harsh and severe financial burdens on low-income people who had large hospital bills, looking to foreclose on their property, looking to prevent access to bed funds and other kinds of resources that should have been available to low-income people. And Chris took the lead in making sure that those practices were reformed so that people were not being crushed and victimized at a time of serious illness. That is a sign of the kind of person he is, the kind of voice that was so important for us in the state legislature, that's so important in the House of Representatives, and is going to be critically important in the U.S. Senate. So now I give to you our next United States Senator, Chris Murphy.
James and Gail and that the future Speaker of the House was here, but Marty and Tony at the top of the list are people that a lot of us who came into public service in the last 10 years modeled ourselves after. As many of you know, I took over the chairmanship of the Public Health Committee from Tony Harp. Tony Harp, who single-handedly has made healthcare more affordable, more accessible to thousands and thousands. In part, I gave up and ran for the United States Congress because I just knew I was never going to be able to fill her shoes in that job. And Marty talks about one of the things that I'm most proud of during my 4 years chairing that committee. A bill that actually made Connecticut the first state in the nation to say to hospitals they're going to come after sick, uninsured hospital debtors who are losing their car, who are losing their home, just because they have the misfortune to end up in the emergency room. I'm really proud of being able to move that bill through the legislative process, but the real reason I did it was because Marty Looney told me that I had to do it. This was his bill, his idea. So listen, I'm just trying to live up to the example that they've set. And so let me just tell you a little bit about the stakes of this election and why we're all here right now. I don't know if you guys have heard of the candidate that I'm running against, Linda McMahon. But you guys have probably seen her commercials, right? She's got these commercials in which she talks about, that she grew up in public housing, that she family was on food stamps, that she went through bankruptcy, right? It's a story that's not unfamiliar to a lot of folks here, right? But here's what McMahon is essentially telling us. She's telling us that she climbed the ladder into prosperity and well beyond, and that if you elect her to the United States Senate, what she's going to do with this job is pull that ladder up so that nobody else can climb it, right? That's what she's talking about. We're Democrats because we believe something different. We believe that our job as Democrats is to tend to that ladder, right? To give it a fresh coat of paint every now and again, to fix the joints, to make sure that everybody in this neighborhood and everybody in this state has a chance to get in. So what we're going to talk about in this campaign is the fact that the path to prosperity for Connecticut families, it lies in a partnership between private will, I'm going to make it in this world, and community investment. we're going to help you make it in this world, right? No more apologizing for public investment. No more trying to pretend that we can get along without public education and public housing and job training and a fair tax code, right? These are all essential elements of the American story. And Linda McMahon and the Tea Party majority in the House of Representatives effectively want to go back and rewrite American history to suggest that we got to this point without all of us, through community, binding together and helping those people who want to help themselves, right? That's how it works, and that's what this election is going to be all about. And so we're not going to outspend her, right? She's going to be up on the air running 10 times as many campaign commercials, 5 times as many mailings, so we're going to have to go out there and outwork her. So that's what this place is all about. This is where we come together in the 3rd Congressional District through our 2 great organizers here, Emily and Jay Wan. Galley's not that bad either, you know. So, Galley is here as well, helping us out. And listen, we know that we can win. Now, we got a primary first, right? We got a primary first on August 14th, and we're not taking that for granted at all. We feel good about that, but we need to get out, knock doors, make phone calls, and basically exercise our lungs over the next 5 months, next 5 weeks, to make sure that we are ready to go once we hit August, September, and October and November. And you know, we were sitting around a week or so ago, and we were deciding where we were going to have our big victory party on election night for the primary. And you know, some people said, well, you know, Chris, you got to have it in your congressional district, so you should have it in Waterbury and New Britain. Some people said, well, you know, you got to have it in Hartford, right? Everything's in Hartford. We decided that instead we'd have our party right here in New Haven. Tails off over the next 5 weeks. We're going to have a big party here in New Haven on election night on August 14th. We're going to take about a half a day to rest. Yes. Right? And then we're going to go out and run and win a race that does 2 things. That makes us feel good about who we are, right? That talks about real issues, that doesn't shirk from the complicated truths that are necessary in order to solve the problems confronting this nation. And we're going to then, too, win a race that matters not only for the people of Connecticut, but for this whole country, right? Because this is one of the... This is one of a handful of Senate races that will decide control of the United States Senate. That is a powerful thing to know that we may control right here in Connecticut the keys to policy making in Washington, D.C., but it comes with a responsibility that I know that we are ready for. Here's what I know, guys. I know that New Haven wins, right? New Haven wins in the end. So we're going to come here on election night, we're going to do work up until then, and then we're going to have a fantastic party in November, because we'll win one for us, for everybody surrounding this headquarters, and everybody in the state of Connecticut. Thank you very much.